What up, everybody? It's your boy Asian, and we're back. This week, it is one of the best weeks of the year and one of the best months of the year. Yes, March Madness, baby. Yes, it is here. It is, be honest, it is Wednesday night, and we are less than 24 hours away from the madness to get to start. Now, I'm not gonna count the playing games because hey, we all know those teams are not gonna really do too well, so we're not gonna count that. So it really technically starts tomorrow. But before I give you my picks and who I think is coming out of each division, we'll talk about real quick some news and notes on my North Carolina Tar Heels. Yes, my North Carolina Tar Heels, who became the first ever preseason #1 team that did not make the tournament. And trust me, it was disappointing and very sad. But we'll talk about a couple things with them first. They declined the NIT, as we all know. Hubert Davis released a statement Sunday night after it revealed that North Carolina would not be making the tournament. And this is what he said. All season, our focus and goal have been on being the best team we can possibly become and reaching our full potential to give us another opportunity to compete, play for, and win an NCAA championship. Although we no longer have that opportunity and this season wasn't what we had hoped for, I want to thank our players and staff for their hard work and love for Carolina basketball. Many factors go into preseason play, and we believe now is the time to focus on moving ahead, preparing for next season, and an opportunity to again compete for ACC and NCAA championships. I also want to thank our great fans for their incredible support. Our commitment to you is what drives us to improve our program in every way. Now, a couple things to take away from that statement. I was not surprised at all about that news. Carolina does not seem like the team was going to play in the NIT, especially after the tumultuous season that has been with so many expectations. I think the team just needs to get ready to move on to the next season. And I know a lot of Tar Heel fans are upset and saying they're too good, but no, you could just tell the chemistry with this team was off all season, and it just did not seem right. So I think it was the best decision. And there's a lot of things that need to be discussed going into this program. Couple things. Tyler Nickel enters the transfer portal, a freshman from Virginia. Didn't see that one coming. Dontre Styles is still deciding. He didn't get a lot of playing time, so I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to transfer and he's in his sophomore year. The big question, Caleb Love. He's been getting a lot of flack and a lot of hate, and I've been hard on him this year, but I wouldn't be surprised on what he does now. I think there's going to be two options with Caleb. Either he's going to transfer or he's going to go pro because there's too much animosity around his fan base. And whatever he decides to do, if he decides to leave the program, I'm going to have much love for him, and I'm going to be thankful for what he did for this program and not take it for granted. Now, with that being said, let's give Armando Bacot congratulations, as he was nominated and received third-team AP All-American honors, and that is a great achievement. And now, the last thing I'm going to say before we get done with Carolina, and I'll be back to talk more about them in a couple weeks, is it's been rumored that Armando Bacot and RJ Davis could potentially return for another year running back. We all know Caleb's probably gone and Pete Nance is probably gone. No Leakey's gone. He's run out of eligibility. So we'll see what happens in the coming future. But I just want to run some news and notes with you guys about my Carolina Tar Heels. Now, with that being said, let's jump to these brackets. And boy, they gave us a good one. They got the #1 overall seed is the Alabama Crimson Tide. First time ever in school history. Now, with that being said, guys, we're gonna jump first. We're gonna jump to the South region first, where I think Bama got a good draw in this tournament. Now we'll start. Bama's gonna play Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I think Bama's gonna easily cruise to this game. Texas Corpus Christi just won a game in the playing game. Doesn't matter. Brandon Miller and company are unstoppable, and they won't be beating them. Next, let's jump to this 8-9 game that we all know, and that is Maryland Terrapins against the West Virginia Mountaineers. Now Maryland has Jameer Young, a transfer who's been pretty good. Kevin Willard's been good in his first season at Maryland. They were undefeated at home, but neutral court and on the road they weren't so good. So I'm gonna give West Virginia this win, and these 8-9 games are always tough. But West Virginia is led by Eric Stevenson and Trey Mitchell. They've been struggling the last couple years as a program, and it's not the same as it was in the early 2000s and mid 2010s. But I'll give Bob Huggins and company the chance to move on. Let's continue to scroll down. Now we got the 5-12 matchup against San Diego State Aztecs. And they got a tough Charleston team who 31 wins in the country. A lot of D2 transfer from the coach. I don't really respect this 12 seed as much. I don't feel like Charleston's played a tough competition really at all. If you blame me, 10 of their wins are non-Division One teams. So I mean, we'll see when they step up in the competition. But this 5-12, I don't see happening. Let's continue to go down. I got Virginia the 4 seed against 13 seed Furman. Now I'm taking the upset. This is my first upset. Furman, yes, Furman getting their first. The Paladins getting their first tournament since 1980. Now they're led by a 3-guard tandem lineup of J.P. Pugh, Jalen Slauson, and Mike Bothwell. They shoot the ball and they score. If they can continue to do that, they will not be stopped. Now, they don't play defense, so if the ball does not go in the basket, they will not get this win. And I know Virginia runs a slow-paced offense. They got Reese Beekman. I'm just never impressed by Virginia. They got to slow the game down. If they can, they'll advance. But I'm taking Furman in an upset. Now, let's go down to the 6-11 matchup between the Creighton Blue Jays and the NC State Wolfpack. Now, a lot of people don't think NC State should have got in. They got one quad one win, but they got an NBA player in Cravion Smith and Jarkel Joyner, who probably will play in the NBA too. They got a big boy down there in DJ Burns, who was a former Big Southland Conference Player of the Year. With that being said, I'm taking the Creighton Blue Jays. We had big expectations from these boys coming into the season, and they got the job done. They struggled early in the season. Ryan Kalkbrenner had mono. It was tough, but they were able to pull through and get the job done and get in the tournament. I think they're going to make some dangerous noise, but I got them moving on. Now, let's move on to the 3 versus the 14 as the Baylor Bears versus the UC Santa Barbara. Now, I'm going to take the Baylor Bears. I know they've been banged up this year, not as consistent, but guard play will always be a champ, so they move on. I'm going to speed it up a little bit, guys. I know I'm probably taking a little too long. But let's move on to the 7-10 matchup between Missouri and Utah State. One name I'm going to say, Kobe Brown, and he gets the job done and leads Missouri over Utah State, who runs a high-paced, fast attack. With Ryan Odom, who's the former coach of UMBC, who beat Virginia. But let's move on. Now, last in this bracket, we got the 2-seed Arizona Wildcats, who won the Pac-12 tournament against Princeton. Now, you know, Princeton was a slow-style offense, but let me take Arizona. They got the guard play. They got the big men, Tubelis and Balo and Larson and Kirk Kriisa, so they're easy moving on. Now we'll move on to the next part of this round. Let's go. So we'll take Alabama versus West Virginia. We'll take Alabama in that one. Then you move on. You got the 5th seed San Diego State against the 4th seed Furman. I'm taking Furman to advance to the Sweet 16 with that guard play once again. San Diego State plays a slow pace. Now let's move on to the 6th seed Creighton Blue Jays versus the 3 seed Baylor Bears. I'm taking Creighton. I feel like they have a better big man. Their guard play is just as good. They got more size than Baylor, and Baylor's been banged up, especially with the star freshman Keontae George. Now let's go to this Sweet 16 in this part of the bracket in the South. We got Alabama versus Furman, the Cinderella story will win, and Alabama will advance to the Elite Eight to play the winner of Creighton, Arizona, which will be Arizona and Alabama play. And I'm taking Alabama out of the South to advance to the Final Four. Now, let's drop down to this east side of the bracket. Now, we got the number 1 seed Purdue Boilermakers. They're going to advance, whoever they play, Texas Southern or Fairleigh Dixon's, that game going on right now. Then you got the 8-9 game against Memphis versus FIU. Florida Atlantic, good story, but Memphis is going to win with Kendrick Davis and Penny Hardaway playing really well in this game. Now we jump down to the 5-12. It's a popular pick, Duke versus Oral Roberts, and you know who I'm going with? I'm going with none other than Oral Roberts to do it again, baby. Yes, they're back again after a few years off. They beat Ohio State in Florida in that tournament, almost beat Arkansas. This is a better team. Max Asmus decided to stay. They got Colin Hanover, a 7-footer. If they can hit shots, they will win. Mind you, they went 18-0 in the Summit League, so I'm taking them. Now we're going to jump down. To Tennessee versus Louisiana. I know Kai Ziegler's out, but I'm taking Tennessee over Louisiana, who didn't really play a tough schedule. Next, we got Kentucky, the 6th seed versus 11 Providence. I'm going with Kentucky Wildcats. They've been up and down all year, but they got Cason Wallace, they got Jacob Toppin, they got C.J. Frederick. They're just a better team than a Providence team who's reeling right now, even with the transfer of Bryce Hopkins, who was previously at Kentucky. So give me the Wildcats. Then we got the 7-10 matchup, which I really think is going to be a good game between Michigan State one of my hometown teams in my state, the state of Michigan, versus USC Trojans, who will be in the Big Ten soon. But Boogie Ellis versus AJ Hoggard and Tyson Walker, I think Michigan State gets the advantage, and they find a way to pull out this game. Next, you got the 2-seed Marquette against the 15 Vermont, who feel like they've been in the tournament every year. But give me a Marquette team led by Tyler Kolek, a third AP All-Third Team All-American. He said F on before the season started, and I can respect that, but I'm taking Marquette. Now, let's get into the next round of this bracket, of the Eastern bracket. Now we got Purdue versus Memphis. Give me Purdue. No match for Zach Edey. Then you got the 5-seed Oral Roberts against a struggling Tennessee team. Give me Oral Roberts. Next, you got Kentucky 6 versus the 3 Kansas State. This was a rematch a few years back when Kansas State beat the favorite Kentucky. But give me Kentucky to get their payback, and they're going to move on. Next, you got Michigan State versus Marquette. This is tough for me. I think Michigan State can give Marquette trouble, but I think Marquette has more firepower. So Marquette moves on. Next, we got Purdue face Oral Roberts. Purdue will dominate Oral Roberts, and Cinderella story will end once again. And then Purdue moves on to the Elite Eight. They will face the winner of the Kentucky-Marquette game, which will be Marquette. Marquette will get to the Elite Eight, looking to get to the Final Four for the first time since Dwayne Wade was there. And I'm going to go with Marquette over Purdue, and Marquette's going to get to the first Final Four since Dwayne Wade was there. Now, we're going to move on to the Midwest bracket, and that is the number 1 overall seed. Or sorry, the second overall seed. That is Houston, the Houston Cougars, as they play Northern Kentucky. Houston will win even without the status of Marcus Sasser right now. You got the 8-9 game against Iowa and Auburn. This is 2 teams who are all over the place. Make shots or not. I'm going to take Iowa in a game I'm not so confident about. I think Iowa will be able to hit shots in this game. 5-12. You got Miami versus Drake. Drake is my biggest sleeper in this tournament, led by Tucker DeVries, the coach's son. They got a good point guard. Point guard play gets them there, and they beat a Miami team who's been inconsistent. And their big man has been banged up with some injuries. So give me Drake. Next, you got the 4 versus 13. I was really tempted to take Kent State with Sincere Perry, but I'm going with Indiana and Trace Jackson Davis with Jalen Hood-Schifino, who will be an NBA lottery pick. They'll beat Kent State. Next, you got 6-11, Iowa State versus Pittsburgh. This will be a nasty, muddy game. But give me Iowa State with TJ Osselberger and company. Then you got 3-14, which is one of my favorite teams, Xavier. Shout out to my boy Jalen Reynolds, who went there. Xavier's going to beat Kennesaw State. It's a good story in the first tournament for the first time in program history after being one game 3-4 years ago. Next, we'll move on to one of the best games, I think, in the first round. Number 7 Texas A&M against the 10-seed Penn State Nittany Lions. And I'm going with Penn State because of none other than Jalen Pickett, who can do it all. He's Mr. Do It All, including Seth Lundy, who helps out too, and helping Michael Shrewsbury. Next, we got Texas versus Colgate. I don't see this upset coming. Give me Texas all the way, even with the intern coach and Rodney Terry. Let's move on to the next round of this bracket. Houston over Iowa. Houston's gonna just physically abuse Iowa. Give me Houston to move on. Then we got Drake versus Indiana. I think Drake continues their magical run and beats an Indiana team who always underwhelms in the tournament. Next, give me Iowa State and Xavier. I'm taking the Xavier Musketeers, led by Sully Boom and Kobe Jones and Jack Nungy. Then, again, we're going to go Penn State, Texas. I'm taking Texas, who has been playing phenomenal, destroyed Kansas in the Big Ten tournament championship game. Now, we're going to have Houston versus Drake. Drake ends one here. Houston gets to the Elite Eight. Xavier, Texas. I think this will be a one-possession game, but give me Texas. Texas versus Houston in the Elite Eight, and give me Houston to get to the Elite Eight out of the Midwest. The Final Four out of the Midwest. And last but not least, we'll go down to the West, which I think Kansas got a decently tough draw. Kansas will beat Howard. Howard played Kentucky really well at the beginning of the season, but Kansas will move on. Arkansas versus Illinois. This might be one of my other favorite games. Of course, it's an 8-9 game. Give me Arkansas just because of the talent with Nick Smith, Jordan Walsh, Trevon Brazile got hurt, but you got Ricky Council. So give me them over there under the Fighting Brad Underwoods. Next, you got St. Mary's versus VCU. I know VCU plays tough defense, but give me Adam Mahaney and St. Mary's, who've been playing well all year. Next, you got TCU versus, you got UConn versus Iona. Rick Pitino's maybe his last game, but give me UConn, too big up front, and they're looking out the door for Rick Pitino. Next, you got six TCU versus either Arizona State or New Mexico. Doesn't matter. TCU's moving on. Next, you got the 3 seed. I think Gonzaga is playing with less pressure this year over Grand Canyon. No chance for Grand Canyon. I'm sorry. Gonzaga moves on. 7-10 seed, you got Boise State. You got Northwestern versus Boise State. Give me Northwestern in their second ever NCAA tournament, and they will get their first win over a Boise State team led by Leon Rice. And last but not least, you got number 2 UCLA versus UNC Asheville. Even with the injury of Jalen Clark, I think UCLA will be able to easily advance by. Let's go next. Kansas versus Arkansas. Now, Arkansas is going to give Kansas a game, but I think Kansas and Jalen Wilson find a way to pull out and advance to the next round. Next, you got St. Mary's and UConn. I think UConn just has too much size for St. Mary's, and they'll be able to speed the game up with Klingon. Tristan New has been balling, so we'll see what happens with them. But Dan Hurley will be able to get them over the hump. Now, you got TCU and Gonzaga. Give me Gonzaga, who's playing with the less pressure once again, with Nolan Hickman, Hunter Silas, Drew Timme, and company that keep balling. Next, you got Northwestern, UCLA. Give me UCLA, even like I said, even with the addition of with Jalen Clark being hurt. I think Jaime Jaquez and Tyreek Campbell will the pole. Now let's go. Kansas is going to beat UConn in a great game to advance to the Elite Eight, even with UConn's size, Jalen Wilson, KJ Adams, Grady Dick. I need to see what the health of Kevin McCullers is, but I'm taking Kansas. And they're really having a chance to win back-to-back. Now I got Gonzaga over UCLA. Rematch of a few years ago when Suggs hit that shot at the buzzer was crazy. Give me Gonzaga playing with less pressure, more depth, and I think UCLA's luck just runs out right here. And so, in the Elite Eight in the West, you got Kansas versus Gonzaga. Now I'm picking Kansas to advance once again to the Final Four out of the West bracket. Now let's jump to my Final Four as we have a matchup of Alabama versus Marquette. Give me Alabama over Marquette, as Alabama has the NBA, probably the number 3 pick in the draft, Brandon Miller, who can do it all and who's been playing better in my opinion. And I like what I see from Brandon Miller, man. He's going to get Bama to the national championship game, and they will take on the winner of the Houston Cougars and Kansas Jayhawks. And give me Houston. I think that guard play with Tremont Mack, Shed. You got the big men of Jarris Walker, Reggie Chaney, and Marcus Sasser. Big guys, and they're going to get to the championship game in Houston where it's at. So you have the championship game between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Houston Cougars, and you give me the Houston Cougars 71-66 in their hometown of Houston. They're the first Final Four they got in a few years, but they're going to get a championship since the 80s, man. I'm going with the Houston Cougars as long as Marcus Sasser is healthy. So that's what my championship game is. I'm going with a score of 71-66 Houston Cougars. That is hoping that Marcus Sasser is healthy and ready to go in this tournament. And if Houston gets knocked out early, I'm done. But it's going to be a great tournament, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited. I know you guys are as well. So let's go, man. It's your boy Adrian, and I'm out.